Hello, everyone. This is Mike with SoundstageEDU, and I'm just dropping in real quick. Well, it won't be real quick. You know me. You know how this goes. And I apologize for my rough-sounding voice today. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe not enough coffee. Who knows? But today we're going to kind of go off schedule, off our beaten path a little bit. And I just want you guys to know right up front, I'm going to be blunt today. If you've been following SoundstageEDU for any length of time, you know that I don't pull punches. But this one's going to sting because it needs to. If you are in the larger band parents tips and tricks and resources group that I am in as well, under my actual name, Mike DeJohn, if you were in there over the weekend, you saw I kind of stirred the pot a little bit. And kind of a funny story, I was at a rehearsal this morning for one of the high schools I work with, and I made the comment to one of the color guard instructors, and I said, I kind of started a fight last night. I said, well, not kind of. I did. And then I tried to backpedal and say it was unintentional, and then I was like, no, actually it wasn't. Because here's the deal, guys. This sits at the core of who I am. This is at the root of my advocacy for you guys. And not just you guys, it's for the kids. The advocacy for the students. The kids who come into a fine arts program and find their voice. They find their place. They find their tribe. They find their people. They finally feel like they have a place where they belong. That's inclusion. That's for everybody. This is non-negotiable. So we've got to stop acting like arts education is negotiable, because it's not. The Every Student Succeeds Act, the ESSA, which is something you've heard me cite many times, already told us that the arts are core subjects. Core. That means music, theater, dance, visual arts. They sit at the same table as math and science and English. It's not a debate. It's federal law. And yet, look around. How many programs are treated like they're just extras? How many kids are told that they're lucky to even have a choir or a theater program at all? It's bullshit, and it's time we call it what it is. The funding is there. The framework is there. The responsibility is there. What's missing is courage. What's missing is leadership. And what drives me nuts is I know that there are people on the board that are fine arts kids, and they have that built-in leadership, and somewhere along the line, I feel like they forgot that. They forgot what it meant to lead. What we're missing is a willingness from administrators and school boards to look at the law and admit, oh yeah, this isn't optional. And instead we get excuses, budget cuts, low enrollment. We'll let the boosters handle it. Meanwhile, kids are being robbed of opportunities that they're entitled to. Not asked for, entitled to. And I know that word entitlement is a dangerous word these days because it can mean so many things, and often when we think about it, we think of the wrong things. But our kids are entitled to these things. The ESSA was passed almost a decade ago, and yet here we are, still fighting the same damn fight. We'll let the boosters handle it. I'm a booster. I get that responsibility. I take that responsibility. I enjoy that responsibility, but it can't all be laid on our shoulders. We can't boost everything. The point of this is, I made a post last night, and a bunch of you got on it, and quite a few of you came on there and said, well, there's nothing we can do. But there is. We got to stand up and speak up. Well, there's no money. I get it. I see that too. But there is. It's a matter of finding the willingness to go get it. To ask for it. We ask for it all the time from people we don't know, from companies, from businesses in the area. Why is this any different? It's not. Let's just be real. It's not. The booster shouldn't have to handle everything. Boosters boost kids. School boards fund schools. Yes, there are some things that the boosters are required to handle, and I get that. But oftentimes I see too much. They're asked of too much. The same conversation I had this morning with the color guard instructor, she voiced a distaste for the fact that that they didn't get any support from the district, not support, but not financial support from the district for their potential winter color guard. And I was like, well, let me just step in here and say that actually is an extra. Does that make sense? Yes, it's an art, and yes, it's under the umbrella of the band. But it is, in fact, an extra. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with the core academic mission, as much as I would like to say it should. Maybe it should. Maybe that's another fight for another day. But the point is, I can see where the district was like, well, we support you in what you're doing, but we cannot financially support you because it doesn't support our mission. And I understand that. Yes, it's increasing their exposure to leadership. It's increasing their exposure to creativity and to performative art. I understand. But understand there is a fine line there, and we do need to walk it. We do need to take up arms for the things we need to take up arms for. But we also need to take up arms when the school board sits back and says, no, we're not going to help you at all, because that does happen. The boosters will handle it. Now, we can't always handle it. Let's make this crystal clear. When your district sidelines the arts, they're not just making a financial decision. They are making a moral one. They're saying out loud that some kids don't deserve access to creativity, to expression, to the life-changing skills that come from performing and creating. That's not just lazy. By the letters, that's illegal. And don't get me started on the double standard. If math enrollment dips below a certain number, no one talks about cutting math. If a science class drops under 12 kids, it still runs. But band, choir, percussion classes, suddenly numbers matter. And suddenly we're evaluating viability. That's hypocrisy, plain and simple. And here's where it gets personal, because I've watched kids' identities form on a stage, on a football field, on the marching band stage, if you will. I've seen the quiet ones come alive behind a drum or a mic or a spotlight. I've seen students who didn't fit anywhere else finally find a home in the arts. And you can't put a dollar amount on that. And you sure as hell can't justify cutting it. Parents, this should piss you off. Directors, you've got to stop being quiet about it. And administrators, if you're listening, I dare you to come at me with your excuses, because I'll bring the law to the table every single time. So here's the deal. If you're a parent, know this. The ESSA is on your side. Demand what your kids are already promised. If you're a director, stop apologizing for your program and start advocating with confidence. And if you're an administrator, remember, you're not just managing a budget, you're shaping the soul of your community. Cut the arts, and you cut the heart out of your schools. This isn't negotiable. This isn't up for debate. The arts are core. The law says so, and I'll die on this hill if I have to. So let's wake up. Let's stop playing nice, and let's start fighting like our kids' futures depend on it, because they do. This is SoundstageEDU. If this hits you hard, share it, talk about it, argue about it. The arts are worth fighting for, and I'm not backing down. This is Mike. SoundstageEDU, out.